Alright, chapter 14. We're going to start producing this insect into a mean green texturing machine. And we're going to look at ZBrush as a workflow. So we've looked at many workflows. We're now looking at how to get a post-production object out as a textured object. Okay? So, to do this, we must first prep our scene. Okay, so this would be the person that took the time to develop a character, posed a character on top of something, and now wants to texturize it after the fact of that. And it happens all the time. It's perfectly legit and not too hard to do. It's also for mainly illustration, however, because one of the things is if you're going into this and you want to texturize this model, you're probably looking more as an illustration piece. If it was an animation piece, you would have done the texturing before you added the bones. So that's the difference between it. But no problem whatsoever. We can kind of look at this process as far as the ability to paint on the model. Here, what I'm going to do is take this model and export it into a different program. Now, it would be nice if it was symmetrical, but the problem with the symmetrical change is I would have to adapt the pose back in. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to cheat the system, of course. So to do that, we have to prep this model up a little bit. If you go to hypergraph hierarchy, you're going to see all these bones. And I still have to rename these sooner or later. As I'm working through this, I keep wanting to show you why that's important. You're like, shut up about the bones already, okay? But anyway, you got to grab all the bones. And in here, we have to go to animation and go to character, create character set. In this case, I'm going to call it dragonfly. All one word. And misspelled. I'll fix it. There we go. And I'm going to make it all keyable except for scale and visibility. Okay. And apply it. The whole reason I did that is because I want to save this pose. And to do that, all I do is have to go up into the window, general editors, visor. Now I have this open because I want to show you where the pose goes after I save it. And if I go into here, character poses, I'm going to take him, his bones, and I'm going to create a pose. This is under animation, I think. Mine's tiled over because of the screen resolution, but I'm pretty sure that's animation. So create pose, square box. And I'm going to call this flower. And apply it. Okay, so now I have flower. Okay, now I also want the bind pose. So check out this. I can go skin, go to bind pose, and he flies all the way down here into the center of the document. So this one I'm going to call bind. Okay, now how do I switch between the two? Well, that's very easy. If I want the flower pose, I can right click on it and go apply pose, and instantly he flies back up to the flower and poses for me. And bind, I can go in here and say apply pose, and he instantly flies down. Now you can see that it wouldn't be that hard to maybe up his resolution a little bit, sculpt on him a little bit, add some color to him, and even remake the model altogether and put him on and skin him back to these bones based upon that. I'm going to take all these flowers and I'm going to move them to a layer called flowers. Save that out. And then I can toggle them visible. And sometimes these are a fickle creature. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to save this scene as excuse me, as I set up my workflow here. $1,400. And then I name this like 1400 begin. Okay, there we go. So if you want that file, if you want it like how I have it set up now, you are allowed to go in there and get that. But I really, and sooner or later you're gonna have to do both your bugs. So you might as well just get used to doing it yourself. That way you have both insects all set up. Okay. Alright, enjoy and move on to the next video where we start thinking about how to go over to another application that we have in our lab. We have ZBrush, so I'm going to show you how to use ZBrush a little bit with this workflow. If you don't have ZBrush and you bought this DVD, this will give you a great opportunity to see exactly why it's important to start looking in that route. If you made it all the way to chapter 13 or 14, you're going to find out that it's probably an application you're going to want to put in your arsenal. So now we'll show you why. Okay, let's move on to the next video where we can start jumping into that application.